What's going on, guys? Unknown Player here, and today we're back with another Forsaken video with a bunch more topics to round up and discuss. I wanted to talk about Malfeasance quest and mainly the Gambit section. There's actually quite a lot of things that people still don't know about the secret boss, as well as rumors and misinformation because of how rare he is to spawn. So I wanted to clarify some things as well as talk about what Bungie have said so far in regards to the quest line. There's also a really cool Easter egg relating to Crota from Destiny 1 and a few interesting things that I noticed in the news content. We've got some potentially exciting news for console players of Destiny 2, as well as some really cool stuff inside the Last Wish raid that I want to show you guys. So as always, lots of stuff in this one video. If you enjoy it, a like rating is much appreciated, and let's get into it. So let's talk about something pretty cool that I noticed, which is actually an Easter egg that follows through from a mission inside Destiny 1. So in this Ascendant challenge, you have to face 3 knights with a sword, which may already sound familiar, but also they have very familiar names. That's because they're actually the exact same knights from the Sword of Crota mission. So in there you had 3 special mini bosses, which were Hive Knights called the Swarm Princes. So back in the D1 mission, you had Garrock the Zol Prince, Merok the Aya Prince, and Dakor the Yul Prince, whereas in Destiny 2, you got Garrock spurned by Zol, Merok spurned by Aya, and Dakor spurned by Yul. Those 3 knights back in the mission were guarding one of Crota's swords, which we then used to kill them, so it does actually make sense they're here in Destiny 2 in the Ascendant realm. This place is kind of like the afterlife for the Hive, so we sent them here originally, then we killed them again in Destiny 2, so I thought it was a pretty cool Easter egg from Bungie. So if you don't know, the names Zol, Aya, and Yul are 3 of the 5 Hive worm gods, and also their names of these knights are called spurned by their gods. So spurned means to reject or punish something, so I guess us killing them made the Hive worm gods reject them, and that's why they're here. They're kind of being punished. Also, the very first knight that you face in the 1v1 is called Garrock, the Prince of Zol, the same as Destiny 2's mission, but the difference here is that instead of the other 2 coming one by one, they both fight together. But it's a pretty cool follow-up to see what happened to those knights in the original Moon mission, and also it seems that Yul found a new prince that didn't work out so well either. Of course, the Hive Knight boss in the Cryopod public event is called Yul Prince, so somehow I guess he got locked up in prison, and then he finally does escape, and we either kill him or send him back to prison, depending on if you do heroic. But either way, Yul's princes don't seem to do that well. As for the worm gods, there are 5 of them in total, but we of course killed Zul in Warmind, who was the weakest one, but there are some lore tabs and kind of hints in Forsaken that say he may not be properly dead. There was also one called Akkar that Oryx killed a long time ago to get his taken powers, but as of right now, ones that are alive, you've got Ur, Aya, and also Yul, who's the most powerful one and the leader. It's possible that one or all 3 of them could show up in next September's big Savathun DLC, or maybe just Destiny 3, who knows. But these 3 worms, especially Yul, are the most powerful things in this Destiny universe, second only to the darkness. I mean, Savathun is crazy powerful right now, but even she is still just a servant to these 3 worm gods. So it will be interesting when they do finally show up, but I don't think it's going to be for a long time. Either way though, let me know in the comment section what you think of this Easter egg. So let's talk about Malfeasance. This is also a quest line and also that meatball boss inside Gambit. We've got some good news, some bad news, and just generally some stuff you should probably be aware of about the quest line. So Cosmo from Bungie talked a bit about getting the boss to spawn inside Gambit. Now, as I'm sure a ton of you guys have also experienced, getting this boss to spawn is incredibly rare. You have to be very lucky to get him. The bad news is that with the next reset on Tuesday, the odds of him spawning is actually going to decrease. He's going to be even more rare than right now, if you thought that was possible. Cosmo also confirmed that during the 3rd week of the corruption cycle, so this past week we've experienced with the Shattered Throne active, this is where he has the most chance of spawning. If you thought the odds of him spawning right now are low, we've been actually experiencing the highest odds so far, and this next reset happening on Tuesday is about to come up is going to be even lower. Leave a comment down below if you've actually got the boss to spawn for you yet, and out of how many games, and also what you think of his spawn rate. I've seen a lot of arguments that it's fine, it's just one exotic questline, it's not a big deal that it's rare, and a lot of people also, of course, very unhappy and think it's way too low. I personally don't feel that strongly either way, to be honest. I mean, maybe if it was a better weapon, I'd care a bit more, but right now it's not that great. I don't think it's currently worth the exotic slot or even the amount of RNG it takes to get it, but either way, let me know what you guys think. There's been a ton of complaints about the RNG to get this weapon, and Cosmo has passed it on to the development team, so we'll see if Bungie does something about it. Now, as for some general info about the Malfeasance boss itself, firstly, you do actually have to kill the boss and win. You have to win. If you lose, you won't get the job and you have to try again. There's no secret method or trick to get him to spawn guaranteed. Everything you've heard is basically a rumor or a myth. It is purely random, whatever you do. Something really big that a lot of people still don't know is the Malfeasance boss spawns for both teams in a game, not just one. If you invade and see the enemy team got him to spawn, that means he's also going to spawn for you if you hurry, and vice versa. If you get a spawn, that means the enemy will get it as well. They're going to try their very hardest to catch up and of course melt their boss, so be aware it's going to be a very sweaty game, and definitely try your hardest when he does spawn. So that is why it's not just the RNG that is punishing in this quest step. Once one team gets it, it's then an all-out race between 2 teams who can kill their boss first and get the quest, because only one can. So yeah, I am actually curious to see how many of you guys have had this boss spawn, or if you have the Malfeasance itself, and also of course what you think of this quest line. Leave a comment down below. So next up, let's talk about some pretty exciting news that came from PlayStation that could be very, very good potentially for Destiny 2 across all platforms. So Sony actually announced that for the first time ever, they are finally going to allow and support cross-platform play from Xbox to PlayStation 4 and all the other systems as well. So crossplay is currently being tested in a beta for the game Fortnite, so that is actually enabled on that game. Sony said the first step will be an open beta beginning today for Fortnite that's going to allow cross-platform gameplay, progression, and commerce across PlayStation 4, Android, iOS, Switch, Xbox One, Windows, and Mac. They did also say they're going to update us soon with more info on the beta and, more importantly, what this means for other titles going forward. So like I said, currently they are just beta testing it for one game Fortnite, but of course they're going to look to do it for more titles, as they said, in the future. And of course Destiny 2 is also one of PlayStation's biggest games that perfectly would fit crossplay. So if Sony were to enable this on Destiny 2, that would mean you could play it on an Xbox with your friend on PS4 at the same time. You could team up, do a raid or whatever you want, and also of course a PC player, depending on what Bungie do and how they develop it. But also cross-save is another big feature of this entire concept. So this means you have one account on Xbox, PlayStation, and PC, and it carries throughout. So you can play on Xbox one day, PC the next. It's got the same character, same progression, same everything. Now, I do know that lots of Bungie developers, just like us, also want crossplay to be a thing inside the game. They want it really badly as well. But the problem is that they've always said it's not up to them. That obviously implies that it's up to the higher ups like Activision, or more importantly Sony. But of course they now have changed their stance. They're supporting it. Now, what could be problem number one is of course Sony's exclusives in Destiny 2. So how would it work if you're using a PlayStation exclusive exotic like the Wave Splitter on Xbox and Crucible? How would that work in the same lobby? And then also cross-save could be awkward as well if you got this gear that you can only use on PlayStation and you go on PC and it's like grayed out or something. Now, what could be problem number two for this is that of course Destiny 2 was not built with the preparation of crossplay in mind, so it may not support it at all. We all know even from the outside how complicated and messy Destiny is to develop for, so I highly doubt it's something Bungie could easily put in the game. I think cross-play is something we could possibly see on Destiny 2, maybe, but cross-save is definitely something that would require a new game like Destiny 3. The thing is with Fortnite is that that game actually started off beginning with the ability for crossplay, so it was already there, but Sony actually early on asked them to remove the feature, so it was there, they just had to flip it on. But like I said, that feature would be completely new for Destiny 2, and unless Sony told them ages ago, Bungie would not be prepared for it. But I mean, overall, this is still very good news for all of gaming, and I think it definitely will come into some Destiny game at some point soon. The question is when. So next up, let's talk about some raid stuff, something pretty crazy you can do with Riven, and also the loot rewards. So firstly, you can actually completely melt Riven and skip every single raid encounter for the final boss section. No eyes or symbols or ogres, literally skip it all. Also, this isn't even a glitch or a cheese, otherwise we wouldn't post it. This is purely using high level characters with specific gear and damage buffs to melt a boss. I mean, Bungie made a boss that can be damaged as the encounter starts, so if you do enough damage, like I'm about to show, you can melt it, simple as that. So to do this method, you are going to need a full team of at least 580 guardians, but obviously the higher the better, and I know there is a high level, that's why I'm not saying this is a super easy thing everyone can do, because it's not. It's an alternate strategy that's a bit more fun for people already around 580. If this was something that like anyone could do at say 530, then I'd probably call it a cheese, because you shouldn't be able to do that at that level. But of course, because you have to be 580, it's probably easy to do it normally. That's why it's kind of an alternate strategy. But getting into it, you want to have all 6 of you go to the crystal room, and also for Riven to go to the other room first, meaning when she comes into your room, she does the blasting where she can be damaged. If she does go to your room, I would say probably best to just wipe. You can do the teleport thing where you stand in this spot out of the room and you go back up and run to the other side, but you have to be super fast. It's pretty easy to just wipe. Also, I noticed there definitely is a way to choose where Riven actually goes first. It's definitely not random. We did a lot of runs, and every single time that we all filled into the room and stood around these spots, she always went to the other room first, which is what you want. But also, every single time we were up on the right by the door, she always went to this room first, which isn't what you want. So there's definitely some way to influence it. I feel like it's positioning, so try and fill out the room, and also you can tell where Riven's going. So if you look at the big black window, if you see her shadow pass it, that means she's going to the other room. So once all 6 of you are in the crystal room, you've got the right Riven spawn. Next up is what you need in terms of gear. The most important thing is definitely the Hunter's Flawless Execution perk, or Shattering Strike, on the new Spectral Blade super. It's basically the Hunter's new melting point, so if you get a headshot while crouching, and then if you stab something, that's going to take 50% more damage for a short time. Melting point and Tether do not work on Riven, but Shattering Strike or Flawless Execution actually does. So your Hunter, which in this case is me, so luckily you can see my perspective and how it works, but right as Riven pops her head through, you get a crouch headshot, and of course hand cannons are the best for this. Make sure you've thrown your smoke grenade to get rid of it, otherwise when you run up and knife her, you just throw a nade at her face instead. But you want to run up, stab her in the chin, and this is going to apply the debuff, and then your whole team goes all out on DPS. So in terms of what weapons to use, once again, cluster bombs does a ton of damage on this boss as well for some reason, so you want to use those, a bunch of rockets with cluster bombs only. You also want a Lunafaction Boots Rift or a Titan Barricade, also Well of Radiance, have a Warlock get an empowered buff, and also Celestial Nighthawks. Shooting through the new Sentinel Shield for Weapons of Light is great, and also Transcendent Blessing mods, Riven's Curse mods, and the Boss Spec perk on rocket launchers for even more damage. With a team of 580s, you can just melt her, as you can see here, but of course a team of 600s probably don't need half this stuff. Again, the higher the better. You don't need to shoot any eyes or any mechanics after that. Once you get down to that bit of health, she is going to instantly teleport you in for the Ascendant Jumping puzzle, and then after that, a final stand, which is easy. But honestly, it's just a fun way to kill Riven. It's like a challenge mode. It is definitely not super easy, and it will take your team a good few attempts to get it right, and especially the Hunter. Often the Scions are going to run away or be dead right when you need to get a headshot, or she moves and you miss the stab, but it's like a fun alternate way to beat her. Also, in my last video, I did say that you can use the very first wish on the Wall of Wishes to get a bonus ethereal key and open 2 chests. This is further proof. As you can see, I've got 2. I believe they're set to 5 at maximum, but I can simply open 2 chests, just ease that. So all 6 of you go into this room, 1 of you does the wish, and all of you are going to get a bonus key, and then you get double the chance at super high drops and double the chance at 1,000 voices. Funnily enough, all 6 of us did have 2 keys from the wish, but none of us got 1,000 voices despite 12 chests being opened. But yeah, that is going to do it for this video. As always, I hope you all enjoyed it. If you did, a like rating before you leave will be much appreciated. If you don't want to miss out on my future videos, then of course make sure you are subscribed and turn on notifications to be the first to be able to watch them. You can find both my Instagram and my Twitter link down below in the description. This image will take you to another video of mine. But as always, I appreciate you guys, and I'll see you all in the next one.